Good evening. I'm Catherine Mallanda, the principal here at Walton High School, and I want to welcome you to our second event in our four-part series of the transition to Walton for your child and your family, especially if this is the first time you're joining us. Certainly appreciate you joining us this evening. And I hope you've already seen the video I made in the fall that really did that great big overview of high school, all the options we have, both academically, extracurricularly, athletically. I think that just gives you a great big picture overview. Tonight, we really just want to focus on freshman year courses. I know you've gotten your course selections that you can have out while we go through this presentation. And then in July, right before school starts, we'll meet with you just to talk about those things that you'll need to know to get started. Some more of those logistical things. And then we meet again in September. We kind of do an academic walk through the 4 years so you have an idea of what to expect. So we certainly appreciate you joining us tonight. Obviously, this is a little different. This is one of my favorite nights of the year. I went to Walton High School and I grew up in this community, and every time we have this event, I run into somebody I went to school with or went to college with, so I really love this night, and I'm a little sad that y'all aren't here with us. First of all, to get to see our wonderful facility, but just to make those reconnections. So we certainly appreciate you spending the time with us tonight. So let's begin our presentation. Walton High School's mission every day is to educate, inspire, and empower our students. We offer a very rigorous academic course, and we have a place for everyone academically, as you'll see while we go through this presentation. We inspire them not only through finding their academic passion, but through the extracurricular activities we offer. And we empower them by teaching them self-advocacy and leadership, with our whole goal being that when they walk across that stage, and parents, I promise you, it'll be 4 very short years, that they'll be ready to do whatever they want to do. They'll have all the doors open and all the opportunities. So that is our mission each and every day when they come to school. So let's talk a little bit about our academic program. We are a 7-period day. Every child has 6 classes and a full lunch. Every class that they pass, they earn a half a unit of credit, which gives them the opportunity to earn 3 units per semester, 6 per year, and 24 units over the whole year. We are a 2-semester system, which means we post grades to transcript after final exams in December and again after final exams in May. All the things that are posted on the transcript becomes their official academic record, and that is what the colleges use to make determinations of admission. There are some opportunities to earn more units of credit. We have some students that really have some wide variety of interests, and they want to be able to take extra electives. And to do that, they can either use our morning tuition school, online learning, or our summer programs. When your child comes to high school, in order to be promoted to the next grade level, be a 10th grader, they would have to earn 5 full units of credit, and that includes passing both semesters of English, math, and science. In 11th grade, they have to have the 10 full units, including 2 full units of English, math, and science. And then to be a 12th grader, they have to have 16 units so that they can earn their 23 required units by graduation. That is a little bit different than if your child plans to be an athlete. All of our athletes have to be eligible through the Georgia High School Association. Every student who walks in the door next year is eligible their first semester. They have to earn 2.5 units of credit in order to be eligible in the spring. And then by the second year, they have to have 5 units. Now notice that's a little different because there isn't a requirement for English, math, and science. But what GHSA wants them to be is be earning units and to be on track for graduation. So let's talk about what's required to earn a high school diploma. Every student has to have 4 units of English, so they have to take English every year. One of those units must be 9th grade literature and one must be American literature. All of our students have to have 4 units of mathematics. All of our students have to have 4 units of science. That has to have 1 unit of biology, 1 unit of physical science or physics. Some of your students are earning that credit right now. 1 unit of either chemistry, earth science, environmental, or an AP science, and then 1 additional unit of science. And if you watched that video that I did in the fall, you know that in science we have so many different science courses so that students who have an interest more in physical sciences or biological science have a lot of choice. There are 3 required units of social studies, including a unit of world history, a unit of United States history, half a unit of government, and half a unit of economics. Every student must take a unit of health and personal fitness, half a unit of each. And then you have to have a total of 3 units from any combination of career tech classes, language classes, fine arts. Notice that it is not required to have a language class, but the University System of Georgia, so if you're going to any college in Georgia, does require 2 units of the same language. Some states require 3. So while it's not a requirement for graduation, you do have to start thinking about the post-secondary and what they're looking for. And then you have to have 4 additional units of electives, which gives you a total of 23 units. So now I'd like you to take out that sheet that you got from the middle school that has your child's recommendations. And as I go through this, I just want you to start focusing on your child and what is going to be best for them. I'm going to try and give you a lot of information so that you're making sure you're picking the best schedule for them as a freshman. So let's start with our English options. All of our students have been either recommended for 9th grade literature or honors 9th grade literature. And you might want to know, well, what's the difference between them? Well, they're both going to have a summer reading novel. They're both going to have 3 parallel readings per semester. The honors students are in a different vocabulary book. It's more accelerated. The honors students will do more analytical, longer pieces of writing. And in 9th grade literature, we're going to focus on the fundamentals of argumentative, expository, and narrative writing. The homework is different in terms of 30 to 45 minutes per week versus 2 to 2.5 hours per week, because there is a lot more independent reading. So those kind of gives you some ideas of the differences between the two. This kind of is you can see this in the information that we have posted on the website, but this just kind of gives you an idea of where our students are going. And one thing I want you to really think about is the progression of rigor over 4 years. Students who don't start out in honors classes may develop into a student who's ready to try that, especially if it's an area of their interest. So you'll see that on this, but every student starts in 9th grade literature, and then we go to world literature, or there's an option for an AP language in 10th grade, then American literature in 11th grade, and there is an option for an AP language there. And then your senior year, you've got a number of options for senior English. It is important to note that the Georgia Milestones required class in the area of English is in American literature. Now let's talk about mathematics. Mathematics has 2 different kinds of advanced coursework: accelerated coursework and honors coursework. Accelerated coursework goes at a faster pace and includes a 1.5 years of curriculum per year. It has very little extracurricular unit usage, and it does earn an extra quality point in the GPA. Well, the honors classes also earn an extra quality point in the GPA, and there is more rigor and higher level thinking, but you aren't going as fast because you're not taking a 1.5 years curriculum at the same time. Students who start out in our honors algebra class do have the opportunity to take 2 math classes, either 10th grade or take that honors geometry over the summer in order to reach calculus. And there is less calculator usage in the honors courses. Some other options that we have is our algebra with support class. So your child may have been recommended for algebra with support, and you're like, well, what is that class? Well, it doesn't have an exact state curriculum. Our support class allowed students to go and see the same teacher twice a day. And it's an academic elective that supports the class. So what would your student do in that class every day? Well, they're seeing the same teacher, and this allows the teacher a lot of flexibility. For example, since I'm teaching the same algebra class as students that don't take the 2 classes a day, I may say, you know what, there's a lot of material today. I'm going to teach some in the morning, and then we're going to teach a little bit more in the afternoon. We're just going to go slower. Or I might decide to teach it all in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to have more time for me to practice with them to make sure they're getting it before they go home. Or it might be a quiz day, and I'm going to spend the morning reviewing and the afternoon taking the quiz. Because there's no set state curriculum, this does give the teachers a lot of opportunity to be flexible. So if your child was recommended for algebra with support, that's what you could expect to see. A student could start in support, and then if they are doing very well in January, as a parent, you could always decide not to take it the second semester. You can waive out of that. We also have another course to help our students who struggle with math, and it's called the Foundations of Algebra. This does have a set state curriculum that is meant to review, revisit, and expand those basic foundational algebra concepts. So the students do go, since it has a set state curriculum, this is a core math credit. Unlike algebra support, which was an academic elective, this is a core math credit. Still, the students take 2 classes a day, but there is more prescribed, I would say, remediation of skills that they may not have. If your child does take Foundations of Algebra, they do have to take it the entire year because they are earning an entire math credit, 1 full credit first semester in Foundations of Algebra, and a 2nd full credit the 2nd semester in algebra. And then you can see our students come in a wide variety of coursework, depending on what they've been taking in middle school. So we have some students that are in that accelerated algebra geometry class, and they're going to come in and finish that accelerated geometry algebra 2. We have honors geometry, honors algebra, algebra with support, Foundations of Algebra, and algebra 1. So you can see the progression. It doesn't really matter when you start. Every student takes algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, then you have a calculus option. We also have some other senior year options. We also have AP statistics. We do offer multivariable calculus on campus, as well as multivariable calculus through Georgia Tech. Now, science. Let's talk a little bit about science, because again, it has a lot of different options. We offer a Physics 1 course. Now, some of you might have students sitting in an honors in high school physical science, and you're thinking, my child is already taking physics. Well, they're not taking physics, they're taking physical science. And so we offer Physics 1, honors physics, and honors biology for our hyper-accelerated students. When you think of Physics 1, you need to think that at most high schools in even the ones near us, they consider this a junior or senior year course. We felt at Walton, and part of our charter gives us flexibility in curriculum, that since our students in 8th grade science are taking a physical science, it gives them a great background to move to high school and continue that study in a physical science. The big difference is Physics 1 is meant to have a lot more math, and it has lab, it has high school lab. So you will see that colleges consider this a lab science, whereas they do not consider physical science a lab science. So I just wanted to make that. And then our honors biology course is for that hyper accelerated student who really wants to pursue advanced AP work in science. And so they want to start in that honors biology to have more opportunity moving forward. You can also see that we've kind of given you an idea of the homework per week and some of those co-requisites. The other thing I would say is that you will find that honors biology has you have to really have more than just good math. You've got to consider the English because it is a whole new vocabulary. So you are learning new vocabulary at the same time. So we do suggest that they're in an honors English because of the vocabulary of honors biology, as well as the lab write-ups, which are more sophisticated. So when you talk about science, science has so many different options. So I'm going to kind of let you look at where we start, knowing that really once we get that physics requirement and that biology requirement, that is where it opens up. Your child can really look at their areas of interest in science. What do they like? Are they a life science? Are they a physical science? I was an engineering major. Life science, never would have taken a life science class as a choice. It's just not my cup of tea. But you give me a physics, you give me, we have all 4 AP physics classes. That would have been much more down my road. If you are life science, we've got at anatomy, we've got forensics, we even have environmental science, which has become such a very interesting area and exploded at that college level. So there's just so many options that your child really can kind of follow that passion they've got for science. Now let's talk about social studies. Now, when I was talking about the graduation requirements, you never heard me say geography or that 4 years of social studies was required for graduation. So to be quite frank, 4 years of social studies is not required for graduation, but we feel it is very good for our students to start in a social studies course to build upon. So, and then you might be thinking, AP, human geography, are these people crazy? That's a college class. Well, let me tell you that we have found that this class is a great beginner AP class. It gives student opportunity to earn college credit. And historically, about 90% of our students do pass the exam, which is considered earning a 3 or higher and earn college credit. So they've been doing very well. It is meant to be a 1 semester high school course, and we have spread it out over an entire year to make some accommodations for that freshman who is just entering high school. Now, if you are anywhere near my age, and we won't talk about how old that was because I graduated from Walton a very long time ago, your world geography class probably included coloring some maps. So I am happy to tell you that world geography has completely changed and that really they are learning the same conceptual ideas of human geography. It is much more a study of the cultural geography, demography, political, environmental, and economic geography. It is amazingly linked to the current issues of today, and you will find your students, if you are watching CNN at home, being able to chime in on things that you never even knew they knew, because they are really studying what is a current issue of the time looking at human geography. Now, what is the difference? Obviously, you should expect more homework because it is an advanced placement course. There is more writing. About half of every test is a free response, so there is more writing. The textbook is written at a more sophisticated level, and actually one of our teachers just wrote a textbook. So you have what I will tell you is that AP Human Geography team is incredible. They have been teaching it for a very long time. They work together very well, and they do understand these are freshmen, and they are very good at introducing them to the class and growing them in that. You will see that most of the parallel readings are written at a college level, and there is a lot of assessment on their independent reading. You can also see that the grading scale is a little bit different, and I hope that just helps you give you a side-by-side of what to expect in those two courses. Now, as we said, this is not a required course, but we do expect most of our students to take a social studies that first year. But then all of our students take government and economics the second year. Again, a little different than our neighbors if you were to compare curriculums, but we feel like that's a very good foundational course for the histories that are to come. And you will see we offer those at all different optional levels. And then we have U.S. history. Everyone takes U.S. history in 11th grade. That is where the Georgia milestone test is taken. And then in 12th grade, we are in world history. Your child also may already have on their schedule a world language. We have students, I know a lot of your students at the middle school are taking Spanish already. We might have some taking French. And we have a whole class of middle schoolers taking Latin. I've been visiting them all year, so if you're one of my 8th grade Latin parents, it's nice to see you, even though we can't actually see you. All I see is the presentation, but know that I have met your students a number of times, and they are very inquisitive and ask wonderful questions. And we also offer a full range of Chinese. So if your child is already taking a language in the middle school, they have the opportunity to continue on. They also have the opportunity to start over. And they can keep 2 languages or they can pick one or the other. Those are all options. And you will see that in Spanish, we do by second semester of freshman year offer an honor Spanish 2. This gives students who are very interested in the language the opportunity to take a 3-4 combined Spanish class, and that gives them the opportunity for 2 AP Spanish courses, because there is an AP Spanish language and an AP Spanish literature. And while that is not a huge group of students that are really interested in that, we have students that are just passionate about the language, and we have designed that course, that mixed 3-4 course for those students. So you do have options. And again, if your child is taking a language and they haven't found a passion for it, it is fine to start over. Do remember, you do need 2 languages in the same, 2 units in the same language for Georgia colleges, and then some states do require the 3rd. Now, what is a waiver? Because you're probably sitting there and you've got that form in front of you and you're thinking, I'm not sure this is exactly what I want to do. Well, I want to tell you that there is a way to make that change. If you end up with a course that you're deciding you want to change an academic level, you are allowed to submit a waiver. That is an electronic form, and that will be distributed, and those are due May 1st. It does mean your child must stay in that course, as you are overriding the teacher recommendation for 1 semester. But hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll have a good idea whether or not you need a waiver or if it's for you and your family. So let's just talk about some hints for high school. One thing I think it's important to know is that we do not retake assessments to improve grades. Students will have to study and be prepared for their assessments. Regular homework is expected. We do assign homework pretty much daily in most classes. It might be just a little something, but let's be honest, good study skills say that we have homework every day, because students need to review what went on that day so that they're not trying to study all at the end. And missing homework does result in a grade of 0, so we really want students to stay on top of all of those assignments. Our teachers will all have extra help before and after school, as well as on our web days, which we will talk about as we get a little closer, but that's our reduced on Wednesdays. We go to all 7 classes for less time, and then in the afternoon we have tutoring. And that's where they can get extra help. They can do makeup work, and using that web wisely, which we're going to give you some hints on how to help your child do that, really is it's valuable time with your teacher. I can tell you, I taught math here, and my webs were fabulous for 2 reasons. First of all, I could really work with that student that's struggling, but I also had some time to get to know them. Getting that individual attention is great for kids, even if it's in a small group. And the other thing that's important to know, we do offer all of this extra help, and we also encourage students, we work as teams. So if there are 5 algebra teachers, our students can go to any of their algebra teachers to get help. So that's a benefit, that there really is probably a morning and afternoon for them to get help in every single class. And we encourage them to go and work with other teachers, because sometimes just hearing it differently can help too. So I think as we're starting to talk about what should that day look like, what should that schedule look like, you want to set some realistic goals and think about the balance of the schedule. You are the one who knows what your child does outside of school. If they have scouts and they have lacrosse and they have, their church youth group 1 night a week, you've got to think about, okay, I've heard all these different information about time and how long it's going to take. What is that going to look like? Then taking advantage of all those resources we've been talking about, the teacher support, we have peer tutoring, we have office hours. And then you also want them to get involved, because we want them to be well-rounded. We want them to be involved in activities and to kind of, get involved in the school. If you have a group and you have your group, that might be the Spanish club, that might be the band, that might be the lacrosse team, whatever it is. If you have your group, that makes school so much more fun. We also want to point out that students that do complete 180 verified hours of community service may earn an honors credit graduation. Please know it is not required to graduate. It's just there for students whose passion is community service. We want to reward that, because that is good for all of us, and we have lots of needs within our community. We've probably learned that more during COVID than any other time. So rigorous coursework. Let's talk a little bit about that. Rigorous coursework, first of all, is different for every student. We know that challenging coursework and challenging for your child will directly relate to their standardized testing. Their standardized test scores, SATs and ACTs they'll take in the future. You want to challenge your child. Your child needs to challenge themselves in their areas of strength and their areas of passion. Now, there are some students that are very good at everything and they love it all and they can do all of that and handle it all beautifully. But there are some students that you may have to help your child say, what are your areas of strength? Well, you can always go back to their COGAT and their Iowa scores and kind of look at that. The other thing is college admissions, when they start with the transcript, they do look at the strength of curriculum and they look at, has your child challenged themselves? They also look for progress over 4 years. So where you start as a freshman isn't where you may end. For some students, that might be, I'm going to start with a couple of honors classes and by the time I'm a senior, I'm in AP. It might be that I'm going to start my freshman year but by my senior year, my goal is maybe not to be utilizing as much support as I am. Maybe I know I need a lot of support as a freshman and I'm going to get, and by the time I'm a senior, my goal is to be in a pre-calculus class. It's whatever that goal is for your child. We want them to be prepared. I want when your child leaves here, I want them to have many doors open and I want them to be prepared for whatever work it is. I have a lot of times I have students come back and they'll be like, college is easy. And some people say, well, you shouldn't want them to have college easy. Well, I don't want them to say that it's not that it's easy, it's that they're prepared. When your child is going to transition and they're going to be on their own and they're going to have so many decisions to make socially and emotionally on their own, you certainly want them to feel prepared, that they know how to write an excellent essay, that they have the background for that math course. And that's what we want to do. We want to prepare them for whatever path they choose, that they walk in feeling confident that they know what they're doing. So let's talk a little bit about GPA and extra quality points, because in the end, when you're looking at that transcript, that is a hard number that's on there for every student. So all of our honors courses earn an extra half a quality point, and AP earn a full quality point. So an A in a college prep class is a 4.0, an A in an honors class is a 4.5, an A in an AP class is a 5.0. If you add all those numbers together, off their whole transcript, divide by the total number of courses, that's how you get your weighted GPA. So how should you pursue having a balanced schedule as a freshman? So I'm going to introduce you to a couple of kids that I know, and to be quite honest with you, they're all juniors right now. These are not my current freshmen or my current sophomores, these are juniors, but I've gotten to know them, so I think it's great that I can tell you a little bit about them and tell you their story. So this first student, as you can see, he came in and he took honors algebra and AP human geography. And, you know, is a very, as you can tell, did extremely well. This student also is a high level varsity athlete. And he knew, okay, I've got to make sure I have time for all the other, all of the work I'm going to do in my varsity sport. So this was the classes he took. Now, he did very well. And as he said, okay, by sophomore year, I'm going to add another honors class. He continued in that AP and that social studies, that's his passion, but he did add another honors class the next year, and he's been growing that schedule. But he started as a freshman to have a good, solid foundation with what do I know I can do looking at my whole day. Now, this is another one of my juniors, and she does have an individual education plan. She does have, she has to work a little bit harder and does have some learning difficulties, but is very dedicated and works very hard. When she came in, she really had a passion for Spanish. She wanted to take Spanish desperately as a freshman. And we talked about, well, let's start with only 4 academic courses. So we did not have her take world geography. And because she does have an individual education plan, there was a study skills option and we put her in that class. Well, she very quickly told me she was extremely bored and that this was, she could take another class. But we wanted her to have a good solid foundation. So by second semester, instead of that study skills class, she took her required health course. And that got her back on schedule. She has progressed beautifully as a student. I mentioned earlier pre-calculus being her goal. Her goal was to be in pre-calculus as a senior, and she has met that goal and is beyond thrilled at her registration for that. But the key was starting off strong, getting the confidence up and learning the study skills. And she's done a beautiful job over the 4 years. And this is another student that I know. And you can see that he took a very rigorous schedule for semester and earned quite a few Bs. that first semester. And in hindsight, having a conversation with him, we talked about, maybe we should have stepped back in just one class. We don't need to step back in all the classes, but if we had stepped back in just one class and gotten his feet wet with high school and learned those study skills, would we have been in a better place at the end of freshman year? Now, I will say by the end of freshman year, he was doing much better with this rigorous schedule and has continued on to really choose some rigorous coursework. But I do think, hindsight being 2020, looking at his areas of passion and his areas of long-term interest, we could have probably made one change that would have helped him extremely. So I hope that kind of helps you to think about your child as you're looking at your schedule. Now, one thing that I wanted to give you a preview of, and like I said, you've kind of gotten some of this information. Ms. Santoro in a minute is going to talk to you about the logistics of registration. But before I leave, I work very closely with my PTA. They are fantastic. And if you would love to get involved, we would love to have you. They actually do a parent-sponsored Walton 101. They leave the academics to me, but they are great resource for you as parents to kind of talk about the logistics, the nuts and bolts. How do you check your child out of school, things like that. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that they will be doing virtual presentations the week of April 26th. So look out for that, because that will be coming. And at this time, I am going to pass the presentation on to Ms. Santoro, who is really going to talk about the ins and outs and the logistics of making sure all your selections get to her so she can make you a master schedule.
Thank you. We are in the middle of course registration right now, where students are being recommended for courses based on criteria that was given to them by Walton department chairs. So hopefully you have your list of courses there next to you. We're going to talk about where you're going to go from there and how you can make changes to things that maybe you want different in your student's schedule. But first of all, registration is really important for a variety of reasons. First of all, we want to make sure that all of our students are adequately challenged and that they're progressing toward high school graduation requirements. Dr. Mallanda just gave us a lot of information about what is required for graduation, specific college expectations with languages. We had a lot of information, and our main goal is to make sure that our students are moving in that direction. It's also important because we build our master schedule and we hire our teaching staff according to the student course request. So we are not able to let students try out a course and then change their mind when they decide that that course is not suitable for them. So we're asking that as you are making these course selections, that you are doing so very carefully and taking the time to discuss this with your student before you make any finalized decisions. With registration, we are looking at that list of courses that you have, and with those courses that you have, hopefully what you're seeing is you should at least see an English, a math, and a science. And in the English, math, and science, you are looking at those are the core requirements for 9th grade. Again, as Dr. Mallanda mentioned, the social studies in 9th grade is considered an elective course. So it is not required for 9th graders. So that actually falls under an elective. This course is one that I have had many people reach out and ask about if they could change this course. It is possible for you to change that course, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. But we are a traditional bell schedule, as Dr. Mallanda said, with a 7-period day. When you're looking at your list of courses, it should tell you specifically course names. So if you look after a course and it says no course selected, please select an elective, that means that you're going to need to add some additional courses to your student's schedule. It also means that if you're looking down at course 8, if there is no course listed there, then I think you're fine. If there is a course listed there, I'm going to give you some additional information about what you need to do with that course. First and foremost, if you did not receive the list of courses from your middle school, I would suggest that you reach out to one of the assistant principals at the middle school to get those letters. And again, if you are at Dodgen, you are going to reach out to Mr. Lawrence. And if you are at Dickerson, you're going to reach out to Ms. Myler, and they'll be able to get you those list of courses. If you are remote, they were sent via email. If your child is face-to-face, they were given a hard copy. But you want to make sure you have those courses that you can refer back to. So the next thing that happens is elective registration. Elective registration will open tomorrow, March 12th, and it will close at 11:59 on Sunday, March 21st. Students are going to access their course registration through their homeroom, through their CTLS homeroom. Their CTLS homeroom will give them all the necessary links that they need for their elective selections. If your student has all the classes on their course list, then you're going to want to make sure that you go ahead and complete that elective registration so that they can make sure that everything is finalized. They are going to access this registration through CTLS homerooms. So that information has already been sent. It should be posted in their homerooms and they should be able to access it. One word of caution is I would ask you to make sure you are prepared ahead of time. Make sure that you take the time to review the academic planning guide before you sit down and make selections. Make sure you take the time to evaluate your student's personal schedule. How much outside time is going to be given to activities and to extracurriculars. Make sure that you put some planning and time and effort into this before you finalize these decisions. The elective course registration can only be done one time. So you want to make sure that you are well informed and that you're making good decisions when you do this. I would like to also direct you to the Walton website. If you, one of the breaking news things right in the middle of the website says course registration, and it will take you to our course registration website. You'll find a lot of the resources there that Dr. Mallanda referred to in her information, where is all the, I can't think of it, sorry, the flow charts, so that you will know that, you know, if your child is starting in Algebra 1, what is the flow of courses? If your child is starting in Honors Biology, what is the flow of the courses? All of that information is there. The academic planning guide is there. The list of course electives is there. There's a lot of information available. And again, that's at the Walton website, and right down in the middle of it, you can scroll down and it will say course registration. So anyway, back to the elective course registration. In the CTLS homeroom information, you're going to find the link for you to complete the elective course registration with your student. That means that if, for example, if your student has been registered for orchestra and you are no longer interested in pursuing orchestra, they would like to take a different elective, you are going to have the chance to change that elective through that forms link. It does, however, mean that you cannot change any English, math, or science recommendations. That would need to be done with the waiver, which is what Dr. Mallanda referred to about changing levels. So again, this is only going to let you change elective courses. It's not going to let you change your academic courses. This is also the place that you will go if your child is short a class, maybe they don't have any classes for electives, and you're going to go in and you're going to add whatever electives they're interested in taking. You will also find the electronic waiver form, and that will let you waive levels if you're interested in moving from an on level to an honors level, or if you're interested in even moving down from an honors to an on level. That's done through a waiver form. If your child has been recommended for math support and you are not interested in them completing math support, you would need to do that through a waiver form. So you can put into the waiver form that your child is dropping Algebra 1 support, and then you're going to be able to select what course they will be taking in place of that. You will also find there information about registering and paying for 0 period. 0 period is not for everyone. It is not required, and I will tell you that for our rising freshmen, we have about 700 freshmen, and only about 20 to 25 students usually complete a 0 period. So please know that it is not for everyone. This is not something that you need to be worried about. But if you have on your list a course listed after where it says course 8 extra course, that means that your child has enrolled in too many courses. So you have 2 choices, and one of those is that you can register for a 0 period. Our 0 period classes meet Monday through Thursday, 7:10 to 8:10. You are responsible for the transportation to school. Students who might want to take, they have their English, math, and science. They want to take that AP Human Geography. They're also in orchestra, and maybe they want to take Spanish and Latin. Those would be a perfect candidate for a 0 period because it means that they've got too many classes, but it would enable them to take more of those classes than just the standard 6. I will say that with the 0 period, the cost is $300. And you need to express that interest now. And I have the email address down there. You will email Ms. Cook. You will also be able to find this information in the CTLS homeroom. Okay, so again, everything for elective registration is going to open tomorrow through CTLS homeroom, and you will find all the forms that you need there. If you have questions, your 8th grade counselor should be able to assist you with those questions. But if need be, you're welcome to reach out and we're happy to help.
Our next step would be participating in a Q&A with the department chairs. And in order to do this, we'll need to switch platforms over to Zoom. In just a moment, I will post a link and a QR code in the chat. You can follow that to get to your chosen Q&A session.
We certainly want to thank you for joining us this evening. We hope this has been informative. And now, if you do have any questions, the individual department chairs are going to be available for everybody. And we just want to thank you again for joining us and look forward to seeing you in the fall.